it's a pleasure to be here and to interact with all the finalists, all the students. So I thought when I was talking to you this morning that what should I share with them, because it's a small amount of time, and also what is that something which can retain in which they can retain. So I'm going to introduce two concepts today, rather these words which are very meaningful, and I would like you to understand the value of these words, which can help you always in your life. You can think about it later on, but let's start with the first. So these two words, set of two words for two concepts, are like, let's begin with the first one. And the first one is sympathy versus empathy. Okay, so the direction in which I would like you all to think is, from my own experience, what I wanted to share, that it's very easy to sympathize with someone, very easy, that and I am taking you to some larger questions and larger social questions. For example, let's talk about education. All of you here are mostly attending private schools. I hope I am right. And when you are studying in private school, when you think, you and your parents, I am also a parent. My kids also go to a private school, and it's very hard for someone like you and someone like me to understand the problems which are deep rooted in the society, especially in the education, if my kids are not attending the public funded school, the government schools or the government college. On the other hand, someone like you are attending the school, a private school. You are living in a world which is so protected, and which is very disconnected from the real problems that you really don't understand. So when you and the large number of middle class, if they are not seeing or able to understand the problem these students face in the government school, there is dearth of teachers, infrastructure, no extracurricular, they can't afford things which you can afford. So just, it's very hard to imagine a life in which they live, or in which they are being educated. But so what do you do when you see poor kids? You express sympathy, you and your parents, or those who have not got exposed or not faced that situation. How much do you actually take time and effort to understand the situation where you are not in the situation, but others are there in the situation? And when you are talking about ideas, the ideathon you are doing, or ideas for India, how do you come up with ideas which are like solving the real challenges and the problems? So the best way to do is to be empathetic and not sympathetic. And to be empathetic, to wear someone's shoes, as Ananya mentioned in the beginning, it requires to find someone and then find his or her shoes. So what I'm trying to say is that to go to that situation and then to understand the situation. So it's very easy to understand things or situation when it affects us. But how do we make effort to understand the situation which we are unable to see? So what I'm trying to say, to cut the long story short, that the sympathy and empathy, it's there is a very blurred line. People tend to be more sympathetic rather than empathetic. It's very easy to say, to define and to differentiate these two words. but it's very hard to be empathetic. It's very, very hard. And so, how do you push yourself in situations where you can really be empathetic? And think of these two words. Think about these two words very sincerely. And whenever you are talking about situation, when you are talking about any problem, try to look at it in a way that you are really part of the problem.